And here's where we left off on solving this problem. We did 10 times 100 is 1,000. 40 times x, we need to get the variable all by itself. So we isolate the variable. The opposite of multiply is divide by 40. We could eliminate one of the zeros. 100 divided by 4 is 25. So 25% do not have spots. If you notice, back at our original proportion, 10 over 40 could also have reduced to 1 out of 4, which is exactly a quarter, which is 25%. So some of you may have seen that from the beginning to do it a little bit easier and quicker. Let's go to the next example. Example number 3. Margot said that 65% of the students are wearing black belts. How many are wearing black belts out of 300 students? So we have a percent that was given, and that's how many are wearing black belts. How many are wearing black belts out of 300 students? So we need to set up our proportion. 100% is our total. We have the percent right here, 65%, and that was for black belts. So on here, you need the exact same label because they have to match. They have to be equivalent. Do we know how many are wearing black belts? Let's see. It says how many are wearing black belts. So we don't know that. That's our X. And then 300 is our total, our whole amount. So if we notice, we could cross multiply, but there is a faster way on this problem. 100, how many hundreds make 300? 3 of them. So we could times by 3 on top and on bottom to get this missing number. Or we could do it the longer way, 65 times 300, which when you have a zeros, you could just drop them straight down. 3 times 5, 15. 18 plus 1 is 19. So 19,500, and that has to equal 100 times x. If I get the variable all by itself, the opposite of multiply is to divide. And when you divide by 100, you could take away your 2 zeros, and you would have 195 divided by 1, which is 195. And see what were we doing? We are finding students that wear a black belt. So 195 students wearing black belt. So on this one, you could have done it a faster way too. The 100 times 3 and 65 times 3, that's what we did right here. I 65 times 3 and got 195. And then we took off our zeros. Let's go to our final example, example number 4. If 200 of the 500 reptiles in a zoo are on display, that means that they are behind the windows where you can go up and view them. What percent of the reptiles are on display? So what percent of the reptiles are on display? So we need our proportion. 100 goes at the bottom. We want what percent, so X percent, and we want to know on display. So on this side, it's how many are on display. So how many are on display? It says 200 of the 500 are on display. So 200 out of 500. You could cross multiply, or how many hundreds make 500? 5. So I could divide by 5. 500 split 5 ways is 100. So 200 divided by 5. If you do that, 5 goes into 24. And you have an extra 0 you could pop up. So we were finding percent. 40% on display. 40% on display. And if you noticed, you could have reduced this also to 2/5, and 2/5 is the same thing as 40%. Okay, so this is the rest of the class period. You're going to go through and you're going to try out example 5, 6, and 7.